right, good evening everyone. Thanks for coming out on this kind of rainy and cold night. Tonight's topic is immunity. I'm Dr. Sally Brown. My daughter, Dr. Tara Farr, we're from Brown Family Chiropractic here in Racine, and Dr. Rudy Byron will be speaking tonight from Byron Health and Wellness. So tonight I want to talk a little bit first about health and what is health. So when I ask that to my patients, many of them say the absence of sickness is health. And that is not necessarily the case, because we're going to get sick in life. Our bodies are designed to learn a germ and be able to fight it. So health isn't really the absence of sickness, but let's think of health as 100% function. When everything in your body is aligned and functioning, you can fight off just about anything. Health is a complex relationship between genetics, and we like to put a lot of money on genetics, but that's a small part of our health. But genetics, and the biggest part is our decisions, which means we ultimately are responsible for our own health, right? It's nature and nurture working together. What we've been dealt and what we do to it, that's health. Your health is influenced by your mother's health and her diet when you were in the womb, certainly, but it's also influenced by what you ate for supper last night. And again, that's our responsibility, right? Rarely is health influenced by a single genetic issue or a single event. That is pretty rare. More often, it's the cumulative effect of the thousands of decisions we make over our lifetime and how our genes respond to those decisions. So let's start off this lecture with a very old basic observation. The human body has an amazing ability to heal itself, right? You don't need a PhD in biochemistry to know that. That, in chiropractic, we call that the innate, the substance inside of you that knows what you need, that knows how to heal any issue you come across, if it's given the proper tools. The notion of self-healing is a part of a larger phenomenon called self-preservation. We have to preserve our species, therefore we have to be able to be healthy on our own. Life is imprinted at every level of our being. Life, life, life. Death is the intruder into our being. Life is big, so we want to live life. Come on in. And try and avoid death as long as we can. How many of you have known somebody where the will to live trumped physiology, right? We see it. My first 10 years, I was a recreation therapist. I worked in nursing homes. I saw it all the time. Somebody, the doctor says, you've got, a week, they'll die. Want to wait for their son from Florida to come visit. Lasted 3 weeks. So the will to live is very strong. Research shows that the intrinsic healing potential within our body is far and away the most powerful medical tool we possess. We've kind of drifted from this knowledge in today's culture, and we put more emphasis on drugs to heal us than on our body to heal us. It's been said that the art of medicine consists of amusing the patient while nature cures the disease. We certainly don't want to trivialize the knowledge and skill set of today's clinician, but often our mindset should be the clinician's job is to provide us with the tools we need to be healthy, right? Give us the tools we need. So I would like you all to just kind of sit back and listen, not worry so much about writing every word we say. You can always watch it later, but listen and take that in and take home a couple of things today that you can do to be healthier for longer in your life. We're going to start this lecture off with Dr. Tara, who's going to give you a little physiology of your immune system, so you're going to know more than a lot of people around you after you listen to this.
All right, thanks, Dr. Sally. I'm going to start this lecture off with what is immunity, and Dr. Sally beautifully touched on the optimization of the body to heal what's presented to it, right? So immunity is how our body responds to diseases, right? Or to pathogens or to bacteria that we're exposed to. So winter is approaching. No pun intended there, winter's coming. But why do you think we get sicker in the winter? Do you think it's because more bugs come out in the winter? They wake up and come say, hey, it's winter season, I'm going to wake up and come get everybody sick? No, that's not why we get more sick in the winter. So let's start thinking about that. Well, our days are shortening, right? We're seeing less sunlight, less vitamin D in our body. We're not going outside and breathing that good fresh air in as much. We're stressed more in the winter because of the sunlight change, and just the holiday seasons are upon us. We just went through Halloween, right? So how much candy did we eat this week? So all of that, and the holidays, we're eating different foods. So all of that puts stress on our bodies that makes it more prone for sickness to attack us. So what is our immune system made of? If you came to our last lecture, I touched on a castle. I want you guys to envision a big castle, okay? So there's a big castle, there's archers on the top of the castle, there's a moat around the castle and a drawbridge. And naturally, when we when we get sick, we see the disease coming far away, right? We see the army approaching our castle. If we are the castle, they're coming down the field. We know they're coming. So what happens? We draw the drawbridge up. The archers take their stance on top of the castle, and then the soldiers inside castle gather their weapons. We're ready to fight, right? So we talked about vaccines last month, and I just want to touch on that, how vaccines bypass our natural exposure to diseases because it's injected right into our body, and we're like, whoa, where did that come from, right? So we don't develop the same immunity when we get vaccinations as we do when we naturally get the diseases. So, again, with the castle, we are the castle. We have a moat and a drawbridge, which is our skin. We have sentries and archers, which are our white blood cells. And we have the soldiers within the castle, which are our B and T lymphocytes. So the skin. The skin is our first physical and chemical barrier. We have a certain pH balance on our skin that helps kill pathogens when they touch our skin. It's also a barrier from the outside world to the inside world. Our tears are another external exposure, and they have a certain lysosomal balance and antibacterial balance, so when anything touches our eyes, our immune system starts fighting. Anything touches our skin, our immune system starts fighting. So that's our first line of defense. So say the army's coming, they get through the moat, and they start putting the ladders up to climb the castle to get up to the archers that are shooting at them, right? The archers are a non-specific broad defense. So say we cut ourselves, pathogens have bypassed that first barrier, they got past the skin, and now they're in our bodies. So those are the archers now then start taking fight. So they're stimulated by white blood cells. Macrophages in the body are like Pac-Men that just go and eat bad things. So the archers are like Pac-Men that eat the bad things. Soldiers within the castle, so there's a lot of steps that take for you to get sick, right? That's what I'm trying to emphasize. So there's lots of ways our body starts building up the immune system. So they know the bad guys are coming over the wall, and so then the soldiers inside the castles are ready. Man, they are on high alert. They're ready for them to drop down and start attacking. And that's our more specific immune response with the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. And again, vaccinations skip all that, and then just, we don't have that ramp up system in place. So where is the majority of our immune system? Does anyone know?
The gut?
Yes. 80% of the immune system lives in the gut. The gut's the stomach, small intestine, large intestines, the digestive system. It has cells, proteins, and tissues that work together to have a very good defense against disease. So the largest population of immune cells are called GI immune cells, and they're derived from the lymphatic system, and they live in the lining of the gut wall, okay? So those are the soldiers inside the castles come from the gut, all right? So I always say to my patients, if your gut is not healthy, you're not healthy. So we have trillions and trillions of friendly bacteria that live inside our digestive system. So the digestive system's a tube, correct? And it's a barrier. It's a tube that separates the outside world from the inside world. So if it's not strong and the junctions are not tight, things can get in and out, and that weakens our immune system as well when there's inflammation in the gut as well. So I always emphasize strengthening the gut really helps strengthen your immunity against anything. Bacteria that live in our gut, we really want the friendly, good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. That bacteria outnumbers human cells 4-1. So there's more bacteria that live in us than we have human cells. That's pretty amazing, and it plays, again, a critical role in immunity. So if the immunity lives in the lining of the gut, what kind of things in this world can damage that lining of the gut? Anyone have any suggestions? Sugar. Sugar's a good one. Any other? Antibiotics. Think about that. I just had a patient today who is sick for the 3rd time since June, and she said to me, "I keep getting sick." And I said, I'm like, she's like, "I went to the doctor, I'm on antibiotics." And I'm like, "Have you ever done probiotics after you took the antibiotics?" And she's like, "Well, no." And I'm like, and then I went back into her cast and I said, how many rounds have you been on this since June? And she said 3. And I'm like, well, you keep getting sick because you're not fixing your immune system. You're weakening it every time, and you're not healing it up to be stronger immunity for future disease exposure. So other chronic diseases can really have an effect on the gut. We don't think about that, but autoimmune diseases, Crohn's disease, and whether it's your immune system leads into that or that's affecting your immune system, type 1 diabetes, I mean, all of that plays a part with the gut. So I just want you guys to know the gut is the foundation of immunity. And the immunity in the U.S. is declining. Do you think we are a healthy country? No, I think we're getting sicker, right? We are on way more drugs and prescription drugs than any other country out there. So what is normal today was sick 50 years ago. You think about that. What is normal today was sick 50 years ago. So we are again, U.S. immunity is declining at a rapid rate. So we have seen more chronic disease than acute disease in this country. How many of you know or have a chronic disease? Wow, this is a healthy class. How many of you know someone who has a chronic disease? Okay, probably 80-90%. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a big number of people. So 80% of the adult population has at least one or more chronic disease. So what happened that changed from our parents' population to our population now? Diet. We're eating more sugar, more processed food, genetically modified foods, and our soil is depleting in this country. Chemicals, pollution, electromagnetic forces, drugs, vaccinations, and decreased physical activity. We are sitting constantly now, and the new saying is, sitting is the new smoking, all right? So sitting itself is not a good, healthy thing to do. So we want to maximize the function of the immune system for our future generations. Dr. Sally kind of touched on how what our mothers did while we were in the womb affected our immunity today. Our children inherit the toxins that we have exposed to us, and we're exposed to more toxins now, so our future generations are born with and into a more toxic environment. There have been tests on umbilical cord blood right after birth, and there's been over 200 neurotoxins found in umbilical cord blood. Over 200 neurotoxins in umbilical cord blood. So they are literally born toxic and weak. With each generation, those toxins build, so we want to make sure, especially as mothers, that our foundation is healthy for our future generation. So I am going to switch into a little bit more about the gut. So how much of your immunity lives in your gut? 80%. The gut is responsible for digestion and absorption. It works 100% of the time to let good in and bad out. And if it's weak, it can lead to stress on the immune system and health gradually declines. So some symptoms of a sick or weak gut is constipation, diarrhea, bloating, discomfort while eating certain foods, heartburn is a big one in this country, and if you have a chronic disease, the gut is involved. So I am going to take a little break here and let Dr. Sally talk a little bit more about the diet. I touched a little bit about, but she's going to take over now.
This is the part of the lecture nobody wants to hear. I'm the bad guy right now. And none of this is rocket science. You guys all know what I'm going to say, right? But we're going to talk about some specifics about how to create an immune-boosting meal. One of the basic things you can take home today and do is add herbs and spices to your food. The herbs and spices, whether they're dry, whether they're fresh, doesn't matter. They're highly anti-inflammatory and they're just good for us. So that's a very simple way to boost your immune system. Dr. Tara and I talk at our clinic to our patients that the perfect diet is a protein, a fat, and a carb every time you put something in your mouth. You want all three of those. When we say carb, we don't mean crackers, we mean a fruit or a vegetable. And you should have twice as many veggies as fruit every day. We say that because if I told you you have to eat fruits and vegetables every day, the majority of you are going to pick the sweet fruit instead of the vegetable, plus they're so much easier to take into your mouth. So twice as many veggies, and a good way to eat veggies is to try and get 5 colors a day. Very easy to do. You can do that in one meal with a salad. So fruits, veggies, fats. Fats are good for us. Our brain needs fat. Cholesterol in our body is good for us. Good fats. So what are some examples of good fats? What kind of oil? Avocado is a good fat. Coconut oil. Fish oil. Olive oil. Yep, good. Those are good fats. If you get good bacon that doesn't have the nitrates in it, you save that fat. You can leave it on your kitchen counter. You don't have to put it in the refrigerator, and that's beautiful to cook your eggs in, to cook other things. So that's an easy way to get fat. Also when you think about, we lecture every time, those of you that are groupies, what supplement do we say we're going to talk about every single time? What vitamin? Vitamin D. Vitamin D. When you take your vitamin D, you should take that with a fat because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. It'll be absorbed in your body better. So if you got nothing else, take some coconut oil and then slurp down your vitamin D. Nuts and seeds, really good for us. Wonderful snacks to have. Obviously, you want to pick and choose. Cashews are good, but you don't want to eat all cashews because they're high in calories. Beans, legumes, all good stuff. These are what we call macronutrients. Another good thing to boost the immune system when you're thinking about eating, and when we eat like this, it's generally not going to a drive-through restaurant, right? We're not going to get that food at our drive-through restaurant that I call drive-by self-shootings. And again, the way we are designed to eat food is to see the food. Our brain says, ooh, there's food. To touch the food when we're preparing it, we get all that stimulation. The brain starts saying, get ready to eat, gut. You're going to get some food. We smell the food. What happens in your mouth when you smell good food? Salivate. Those are enzymes ready to start breaking down your food. When you do a drive-by self-shooting, you're driving along and boom, there's food in your body. Just like the vaccinations. Your body's like, where did that come from? I got no warning. You digest that food very, very poorly because of that. We should be eating more food at home. We should be preparing it because that's the only way you know what's going into your food, right? You never know what's going in if you eat out. But that also allows us to take time to relax with the family, share stories. All of that is good for digestion. It scares me because now kids are involved in sports and doing things and nobody eats at home and they're going from here to there. Kids need to sit down with their parents and have good conversation while they eat. That's good for their digestion as well. That will help boost the immune system. We mentioned sugar. There is a handout you all have that has about 100 negative effects of sugar. You could put that on your refrigerator and highlight some of them. If you look on that, though, the very first one, what does it say? Sugar can suppress the immune system, number one. We're going to see a lot of sick kids because they ate all that Halloween candy and they're amongst other sick kids. And 100 grams of sugar, which is like a couple of candy bars, if you eat 100 grams of sugar for 5 hours, your white blood cell count will be diminished by 50%. So if you are going to eat sugar, stay in your room, do it secretly, and don't be by anybody else because you're going to get sick if they are. As you look down toward the bottom of that first column, sugar can cause inflammation in the gut. We know 80% of our immune system lives here. We don't want to inflame it. It's another thing sugar can do. Sugar can also cause bacteria to ferment in the gut, and that creates an unhealthy gut. So sugar on its own is just not a great thing. If you need a fix of sugar, have some dark chocolate, 80% dark chocolate. You'll get your magnesium, and it's delightful. Have it with some strawberries. You got your fruit in there. That's good stuff. And the final thing I want to say is it's a good idea to do a liver and kidney detox, a cleanse, every year. Dr. Tara talked about all the toxins we take into our bodies. Our liver and our kidneys have to filter that. Every medication we take, every drink of alcohol we take, every sugary thing we have. Being overweight causes more of a burden on the liver and kidneys. Hormonal imbalances, which are huge in today's world, cause that. Any gut issues. So doing a yearly detox is a beautiful thing to boost your immune system. You kind of get a free ticket out of jail, like in Monopoly, when you do that. We are actually at our office doing a class on a liver and kidney cleanse. You have a flyer on that called Detox with the Docs. Whatever detox you do, don't do it willy-nilly. Don't just go pick one up and say, I'm going to start this today. You want to do your research. You want to know it's a good product. And you have to plan when you're going to do that, because you don't want to do it starting on a Thursday when you know you're going to go out Friday night, because you're not going to follow it. So you need to pick a good, our detox program is a week long, so we pick 1 week where there's not a lot going on. And so many people want to do a detox in like January after the holidays. November is my month for that, because I go into the holidays feeling great if I do that in November, and your craving for sugar will go way down if you do this. So when you do have a holiday meal, instead of having the fudge and the pumpkin pie and the apple pie, you'll take one bite of the fudge and go, woof, that's enough for me, because it will satisfy you. So it's a beautiful thing to do before the holidays. You'll be deflamed and you'll feel really good, and your holiday clothes will fit you better. So it's a win-win-win-win. So that was a discussion a little bit on macronutrients, or the food we eat. Dr. Byron is going to talk about micronutrients, or the vitamins and minerals and supplements, and what you can take to boost your immunity.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go a little bit out of order, because initially we had a discussion about my talking about supplements at this time, but I think that's probably a bit premature based on some other things that I'm going to discuss, including talking about our immune system and how it's impacted by the health of our thyroid gland and the health of our adrenal glands. So supplements will naturally follow that discussion, because you'll have a better understanding about why certain supplements are beneficial, rather than talking about the supplements first and then those particular organ systems. So those particular organ systems, again, the thyroid gland and the adrenal glands are extremely important in terms of the regulation of our immune system. Why is that? We'll start with the adrenal glands. So what are the adrenal glands? Those are our fight or flight glands. There are one pair of glands. one gland that sits on each kidney. And think of it as a little gland about the size of a pea and or the size of a fingernail. I like to think of the kidneys as kidney beans, and the adrenal gland is the top hat on the kidney bean, like little dancing, kidney bean with the top hat. The adrenal glands are super duper powerful. They're tiny little glands, but oh my gosh, are they ever powerful. So those are our fight or flight glands. And how many of us have been in fight or flight, right? Most of us spend a lot of time in fight or flight throughout the day, unfortunately, when in fact we shouldn't. So we overtax our adrenal glands. And what does that mean for immunity, right? It has everything to do with immunity. So we were introduced to the concept of our immune system being our major system for defense. That's our, I like to think of our immune system as serving and protecting, right? Very much like our local police force. And if we are in fight or flight, that is under stress, or what I like to describe as running from a saber-toothed tiger, and that saber-toothed tiger could be anything, right? It could be financial stress, it could be stress from an internal toxin, it could be stress from excessive sugar intake, or stress from the conversation that we just had with a spouse and or friend, etc. Or stress from watching a very impactful television show or a book, reading a book that really gets us emotionally charged. So if we're in fight or flight to any degree, what happens to our immune system? Our immune system, will it be turned on or turned off? It's going to be turned off because our body has to utilize all of its energy to run from the saber-toothed tiger. So in the midst of running from the saber-toothed tiger, our body has to conserve that energy, right? We need energy for our muscles to run, energy for the brain to function and be ultra focused and concentrate on making sure that we don't get eaten. Got it? What happens to digestion? Digestion gets shut down, right? We're not concerned about assimilating nutrients while we're running fast from that saber-toothed tiger. And where, again, is 80% of our immune system? In the gut. So, therefore, our immune system, by definition, gets diminished. It's not uncommon, for example, for high-octane athletes, soon after a major event, such as a half marathon or a marathon, they will be highly susceptible to getting sick. I often tell I won't say this because my family member asked me not to use him as an example. So let's say there is a family member who likes to play basketball and not necessarily put on his hat and coat soon after playing intensely. And I always say to that family member, well, young man, you have a high risk of getting sick. And he, of course, doesn't like to listen to me sometimes, but then I use the authoritative, I'm the doctor of the house. So subsequently then, we'll put him in check. Sometimes it requires a headlock, unfortunately. So our immune system, again, the adrenal glands have a direct effect on the immune system. And aside from fight or flight, the adrenal glands are extremely important for the regulation of our mineral content in our bodies. In other words, how and why are minerals distributed in the body. So what the heck are minerals, right? Minerals are those elements that were on the periodic table, elements of the earth: calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, etc. Who regulates those minerals? The adrenal glands. Again, some of those minerals are extremely important and that's what we're going to talk about in a few moments regarding the supplements that are very beneficial to keep our immune system boosted, some of which are minerals. And again, which organ system, which glandular system regulates those minerals? The adrenal glands. So we really want to make sure that we do our best to minimize stress and protect the adrenal glands. Many people who are close to me, including my wife, will respond to me often by saying, I'm not going to address this very stressful situation right now. I'm protecting my adrenal glands. It's a nice comeback, because what can you say about that? You know, I want a healthy wife. Happy wife, happy life. There we go. We know it. All right. So the adrenal glands. One very cool, interesting aspect about the adrenal glands. I like to use cocktail party phrases, right? So if you're at a cocktail party, you're having small talk, etc. It's nice to have little tidbits of information to share with others, right? So what glandular system opposes the adrenal glands? So there's a gland in the body that is directly opposed to the adrenal glands, meaning if the adrenal glands are super stimulated, there's another gland that's kind of its check and balance. So what is that gland? Anybody know? Close. No, very, very close. It even sounds like the thyroid gland. It is the thymus gland. The thymus gland. And guess what the thymus gland happens to do? The thymus gland happens to mature our cells in our body, specifically the antibodies, those soldiers that are fighting the enemy. So the antibodies are produced, our antibodies are produced in the gut, and they're subsequently travel to the thymus gland. If everybody feels that little notch just above their breastbone, there's a little notch there. And don't do this, especially at home viewers, don't do this, but if you put your finger down that little notch, you would feel the tip of the thymus gland. And again, the thymus gland is a small gland, but super duper powerful because number one, it's maturing our immune system, maturing the antibodies. So doesn't that make sense? If the adrenal gland is super duper stimulated, the thymus gland will come to the rescue. Got it? So that there's always this seesaw battle with the adrenal glands being super stimulated and the thyroid and the thymus gland saying, okay, hey, adrenal gland, don't get too stimulated over there. We have to make sure that our immune system and these maturing antibodies are ready to attack as soon as you calm down. And we're going to try to keep you calm. Got it? The next component that I want to share with you that's important for our immune system is the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is extremely important for the optimization of our immune system. Why is that? What is the thyroid gland? Can anyone share with me a sentence or two about the thyroid gland? We have a quiet audience tonight. Yes.
It regulates the temperature and our digestion.
Metabolism. Yes. So the thyroid gland is a regulator of our metabolism. So we'll often say to ourselves or to someone else, we have a fast or slow metabolism, and we'll usually point to the thyroid gland for that, right? Well, one interesting thing I'll say that's not necessarily related to this discussion is that we can't judge a book by its cover, because just because someone looks slim and trim, for example, does not mean that they have a fast metabolism. Or if someone is overweight, it doesn't mean that they have a slow metabolism. However, we do specifically attribute the regulation of our metabolism, that is how fast we burn calories, we attribute that to the function of the thyroid gland. So that is true, but we can't judge a book by its cover and think that just because a person looks a certain way, that in fact their metabolism is fast or slow. We prove that in the office all day, every day. So many of you who are my patients, we've had that discussion multiple times. Thyroid gland and the immune system. So in addition to being a regulator of our metabolism, it is a gland that looks like a butterfly, stings like a bee, just kidding. Looks like a butterfly, looks like a bow tie, and the thyroid gland is super duper important in terms of regulating our immune system. How does it do that? It is the repository of electricity for the body. So it's the storage unit of electricity for the body. And its job is to send electricity and distribute it to the rest of the body. So what are the top 2 organ systems that lend itself to sending energy from the thyroid gland? 2 organ systems: brain, number 1, heart, number 2, right? They require the most energy and electricity. So what happens if the thyroid gland's ability to store electricity is low? What happens to our immune system? Goes down, right? So our immune system gets substantially depleted if the thyroid gland is not fully active or activated. So it is thought that 80% of Americans walk around with low thyroid gland function, or what we would call decreased thyroid gland activity. So if that's true, if 80% of Americans have decreased thyroid gland activity, that is low distribution of electricity to the rest of the body, then guess what happens after that, right? Our immune systems get depleted. Either Dr. Tara or Dr. Sally mentioned a few moments ago that, in fact, it appears that we are not necessarily getting healthier in our society, that we're much more susceptible to things that will adversely impact our immune system. One of the places to look is the status of the thyroid gland. Is the thyroid gland fully optimized? So let's talk a little bit about what it takes to optimize the thyroid gland, right? How do we get that thyroid gland fully functioning? So number 1 is, what is the number 1 nutrient that the thyroid needs to function well? Number 1 nutrient is iodine. Very good. So what do we know about iodine? It's not surprising that, in fact, it's iodine that is required for the thyroid to function well. What do we know about iodine? Someone say something about it. Yes.
I think it's found in sea salt.
It's found in sea salt. Very good. So it's from the sea. Very good. Iodine is most abundant in the sea. And as a matter of fact, in the Midwest, which is close or far from the sea, right? Far from the sea. The Midwest, especially the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, is called the Goiter Belt. The Goiter Belt. So it's called the Goiter Belt because the thyroid gland gets enlarged, and we call that a goiter when it is iodine deficient. So that's, in fact, why they put iodine in regular salt several years ago. And in fact, that occurred because of a major deficiency in a school, I believe it was in Ohio, where practically 90% of the students were hypothyroid. When there's low thyroid, by the way, there's low IQ. So it's one of the major problems with hypothyroidism. That's another topic for another day. So iodine, what else do we know about iodine? When surgeons are preparing for surgery, what do they wash their hands with? Betadine, right, which is iodine, right? So surgeons clean their hands very carefully. They spend about 15 minutes washing their hands in an iodine-based solution. So what does that tell you about iodine? It has what kind of properties? Cleansing properties, right? It has cleansing properties. What do you think that would do for our immune system? It will boost it. That's exactly right. Very good. It will boost our immune system. What do you think having a good supply of iodine will do for your immune system? Right? Boost it. Would it potentially prevent infections?
Yeah.
Absolutely. How many people take an iodine supplement? Right. So we should think about that. We should think about that. Do we need an iodine supplement? It's a very, very good question. You have to think very carefully about that, because if you do not have enough iodine in your system, your thyroid gland will be deficient, especially women, because iodine is necessary for every gland to function, every gland in the body. Women have more glandular function needs than men. That's why women are more prone to low thyroid. Do you understand? So iodine gets depleted in women much faster than men. So certainly think about iodine supplementation. We won't go into the details about how much, etc. We can address that via question and answers at the end if necessary. Next, regarding the thyroid gland, any other nutrients necessary to keep the thyroid gland optimized? Magnesium, zinc, copper, vitamin C. Those all seem kind of important for our immune system, right? What about, there's a key nutrient, and it happens to be a vitamin, and it's the first letter of the alphabet that has an impact on the thyroid gland, or the thyroid gland, I should say, has an impact on that vitamin. And that vitamin is what? Vitamin A. Very good. So vitamin A, when we eat plant-based products, we're eating beta-carotene. Beta-carotene must get activated and transformed into vitamin A. Vitamin A is activated and transformed by two organs. Number one is the liver, and number two is the thyroid gland. So that it's very, very common to have a vitamin A deficiency in our society. Dr. Tara mentioned earlier in her excellent discussion regarding our defense mechanism, she mentioned tears and mucus. You remember that? She mentioned tears and mucus. So the number one defender that we have in our tears and mucus is vitamin A. Vitamin A. Why vitamin A? It's necessary. It's one of the first line defenders. It's one of those guys who has, what did you call them? The archers. Vitamin A is one of the archers. Extremely, exceptionally important. And I like to call vitamin A the Rodney Dangerfield of vitamins and the immune system. It gets no respect. We all talk about other vitamins, but vitamin A is Johnny on the spot. So people who get cold sores, mucous membranes, right? Snotty, runny noses, vitamin A. Don't sleep on vitamin A. Extremely important. If there's hypothyroidism, if 80% of Americans have hypothyroidism, that means that a large percentage of Americans will have low levels of vitamin A. Very good. Again, we're talking about immune system optimization. Got to have that level right on point. My next section is to discuss supplements. So should I go right in there? Okay. So my next section is to discuss supplements that will be beneficial to keep our immune system boosted. And we've already given you some clues in terms of which supplements will be most beneficial. When we were kids, right? No one in here is super young. So when we were kids, our moms and our grandmoms and great-grandmoms will say, take a multivitamin and get some rest if we got sick, right? But we should also say, take a what? Mineral, right? I need to hear that more loudly. Mineral. Take a multi-mineral, very good. Multi-mineral. So let's talk first about some key important minerals that are beneficial to keep our immune system optimized. And why minerals? Why focus on minerals at the moment? Because vitamins do not work without minerals. I'm going to repeat that. Vitamins do not work without minerals. Minerals have a charge. It's like a battery. In fact, that's what's in batteries. That's how batteries get their charge, is through minerals. So we've all heard of things called electrolytes, right? Think of that word, electricity and light in that word, electrolytes. That's energy. So that's coming from key minerals that have a charge, meaning electricity. So which minerals will be very beneficial to optimize our immune system? We talked about some related to the thyroid gland. Magnesium is one, very good, but it wouldn't be number one on my list, but that's very good. It's a good answer.
So zinc.
Zinc, very good, high on my list. If someone's getting sick or getting a cold, Typically, you need more
Zinc.
zinc. Very good. You get a sore throat, strep throat, and you might go to the local store on the corner, we won't name any names, and pick up some throat lozenges. And then you'll see a sign for throat lozenges with
Zinc.
zinc. Very good. That means zinc has some special properties. So one of the properties is antimicrobial, which means antibacterial, antiviral, anti-yeast, etc. Zinc also is a powerful antitoxin. What happens if we're under stress? If we're under stress, what happens to zinc levels in the body? It goes down dramatically. So with our lifestyles, many of us lead very stressful lifestyles, which will deplete our levels of zinc. Zinc is very easy to supplement. The U.S. recommended daily allowance, United States recommended daily allowance is 15 milligrams per day, which is paltry. That's exceptionally low. So we certainly need to look at upping that for the vast majority of people. It's rare for me not to recommend zinc for people, even for just general wellness. So that's something to think about with zinc. Any other key minerals?
Vitamin C.
That's a vitamin, not a mineral. Copper is a good choice, but it wouldn't be high. It wouldn't be high on my list for an acute illness. But it does have anti-inflammatory effects and antimicrobial effects. But it wouldn't be the first on my list. It's not something that people would think about right away. Potassium wouldn't be first on my list for boosting the immune system immediately. Next on my list is something we all, most of everyone in here would know. Yes.
Silver.
Thank you. Very good. Silver. Good job. Good job. I would love to mention the name. Yes, very good. So silver. Why am I excited about silver? You guys eat with what?
Fork.
Silverware. Why? Thanks. For our visual, for our folks watching this via live stream, the response to that question was forks. So we eat with forks. Yes, we eat with forks and spoons and knives. Some people eat with their hands. That's fine too. Silverware. Yes, silverware. Why do we eat with silverware? Because silver has the property of being antimicrobial. It's not a coincidence that we eat with silverware. It's antimicrobial. Very, very powerful antimicrobial. So silver will be high on my list. It will be one of my first choices. Zinc would be a top choice. Silver would be another choice. And of course, then we would ask what kind of silver, right? There are many different forms of silver. You're not going to eat a silver fork. You're going to eat a certain form of silver, such as, you're whispering, colloidal silver. Very good. Colloidal silver is a good option. Angstrom silver is another option, and there are several others, but those would be the top two. Most people are familiar with colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is referring to the size of the molecule of silver. In microscopic terms, that would be about the size of a beach ball. Angstrom silver will be about the size of a pinhead. So then there's nano-sized particles, which are even smaller than that. So many different options. The key is get in the game. Next, what other mineral? Let's name one more and then we'll move on. Another mineral.
Magnesium.
Magnesium, someone mentioned that already. It wouldn't be the first on my list, but it's a good choice. Selenium. Selenium. Why selenium? Extremely important mineral that assists with boosting our immune system. Selenium, for example, have we heard of a condition called AIDS and or HIV, right? We know that across the board, those with HIV or AIDS, which is an immune system problem across the board, their levels of selenium are extremely low. They have a much better chance of survival with higher selenium levels. Selenium is extremely important for our bodies. So what's special about selenium? Let's go back to cocktail party information, right? Cocktail party information is sort of trivial information regarding selenium. If someone has age spots, how many people know someone with age spots? right? So if we know someone with age spots, by definition, that's a selenium deficiency. What does selenium do in the body? Why is it important to keep our immune system robust? Selenium basically is an antioxidant for fat. It prevents fat from becoming rancid. Do we have fat in our bodies? Yes. Guess what keeps that fat from going rancid in our bodies? Selenium. Light, air, heat will cause fat to go rancid, right? So we need selenium in our bodies to prevent that fat from going bad. So if we see age spots on the skin, you can multiply that by 100 inside the body. So selenium, extremely important for our immune system. That part was cocktail party information, by the way. Okay, last but not least, let's mention one more. Sulfur will be another. Sulfur is easy, right? Old, grandmother, great-grandmother remedies, right? Put a piece of garlic under the bed, right? Onions, etc., right? All strongly antimicrobial, antitoxin. Eat a piece of garlic clove, etc., right? How many people have heard that kind of stuff? Well, it actually does work to some degree, but taking a good form of sulfur often is very beneficial. So we'll keep it moving here. Now let's jump to vitamins. Vitamins, so which vitamins would be high on our list to keep our immune system boosted? Vitamin C, yes. Vitamin A, very good. Vitamin C is one of my favorites. In fact, I would have to say it's my first or second favorite. Don't tell Dr. Sally, because vitamin D should be number one. Vitamin C, extremely powerful and potent. There are many different forms. We won't go into the different forms this evening, but vitamin C is all about the dose. It's all about the dose, meaning U.S. recommended daily allowance for an adult is about 50 to 60 milligrams per day. The smallest mammal self-produces 4,000 milligrams per day. The largest mammal self-produces 15,000 milligrams per day. So the United States recommended daily allowance is how much again? 50 to 60 milligrams per day. That's ridiculous. We can use and need a lot more vitamin C, especially depending on the season. So which fruit naturally has high vitamin C?
Orange.
Let's say citrus fruit like an orange, right? When are oranges in season? In the winter. Very good. They're not in season in the summer. They're in season beginning right now. You can't get seasonal oranges in June. Those are stored oranges. Those are hybrid oranges. You want seasonal oranges, it starts actually right now in early November. Why is that? Because we need them at this time. So high dose vitamin C. Got it? Which vegetable is the highest in vitamin C? Bell peppers. Very good. Very good answer back there. Bell peppers. Much higher than oranges and any other citrus fruit. Vitamin D. Vitamin D. So what's special about vitamin D? Why are we so hyped up about vitamin D?
Absorption.
Absorption meaning?
Your body's ability to absorb all the other nutrients.
Metabolism of other nutrients. So vitamin D, those are good answers. Vitamin D specifically is important because it boosts our immune system, but how does it do that? It does that because what's a function of vitamin D? It increases calcium absorption. So to be specific about your response, both of your responses were correct. Specifically, it increases calcium absorption. So vitamin D gets activated by what? By the sun, right? We have to have sun exposure. Subsequently, we will increase absorption of calcium. What does calcium have to do with immunity? That's what vitamin D does. So what does calcium have to do with immunity?
Detoxifier.
Very, very good. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from, but you are 100% correct. I want to know who perhaps taught you that information. So his response for the viewers is that calcium is a detoxifier. So why would calcium be a detoxifier for the body? Because we have an abundance of it. Where is it located? In our bones. Where else? In our teeth, right? Bones in our teeth. So those of us who persistently have issues with our teeth would begin to question the degree to which we have toxins present. Calcium is the #1 detoxifier in the body. That's why osteoporosis levels are rising in our society, because we unfortunately are inundated with many toxins, and the body has to detoxify. Otherwise, we cannot live. Remember, Dr. Tara and Dr. Sally mentioned earlier that our bodies have an innate ability to heal themselves. In the midst of healing ourselves, it will use the calcium that's readily available. And if we're not getting any sun, it won't utilize that calcium, because vitamin D is what will activate the absorption of that calcium. So we'll continue to lose. We'll continue to lose it. Do you understand? You can eat all the green leafy veggies you want, which is high in calcium, but it will not get absorbed unless you have very good vitamin D levels. There's lots of data about vitamin D levels and cancer, for example. Vitamin D level above 40, there's a 90% risk reduction of breast cancer, among many others. I just said 90%. 90% with a vitamin D level above 40. That's not hard to do. So most people are well below 30. Most people, not necessarily in this room, because this is a room full of people who are in the know. But most people outside of this arena have extremely low levels of vitamin D. And it's especially important at this time of year. Sometimes there are reasons not to take vitamin D, but we're not going to go into those details tonight. For the most part, most people need it. I'll speed it up. A few other things I'll mention. Salt. What does salt have to do with boosting our immune system?
Electricity.
Electricity, very good. Salt provides energy for the body. In addition, what do we do before we have refrigeration? We salted foods, right? We salted foods because salt acts as a preservative. But how is it acting as a preservative? It's not allowing the food to rot. Do you understand? We are 70% seawater in our bodies. 70% seawater, not 70% fresh water, 70% seawater. Our bodies mirror exactly the composition of water and land mass of the earth, right? Land mass of the earth, 70%. Water, 70% on the earth, land mass, 30. Same thing in our bodies. So salt is extremely, extremely important. We must have enough sea salt. Essential oils, immune system function. Essential oils, very much so in our arenas these days. We should at least have a working knowledge of them, and some people are becoming much more attuned to utilizing essential oils. I think, number one, essential oils are, in fact, essential for every household. You should at least have a handful of essential oils to utilize to assist with healing. I always have them. It's like you don't leave home without them, right? So you got to have them, your form of American Express. And name a couple of essential oils that are beneficial to keep our immune system boosted. Frankincense, Big Frank, of course. Yes, that's one. Very good. What else? Lavender, very good. Excellent. Another. Oregano and tea tree. Excellent. That's exactly what I had on my list. That's perfect. So then you can take it from there, right? If you want to dive more deeply, we can dive more deeply. But those would be, those that were just listed would be very, very good tools to use. For example, they're easy to carry around. You know, easy to use in all sorts of fashions. I use them in the office all the time, at home, obviously, on the go, etc. Probiotic, that's easy. That was mentioned already, right? 80% of our health is, 80% of our immune system is in the gut, so we must have enough good gut bacteria. And last but not least, actually I have two more. We'll do both quickly. Medicinal mushrooms. Medicinal mushrooms. How familiar are you with medicinal mushrooms? So I'll just mention these briefly without long conversation. Medicinal mushrooms. Two that I would bring up right off the bat. Number one is the king of mushrooms, the so-called king of medicinal mushrooms, which would be chaga, C-H-A-G-A. It's great, especially at this time of year. You can use it in multiple ways, such as make a tea, chaga tea, for example. The second medicinal mushroom would be reishi. Some of you have probably heard of that one as well. Again, fantastic. I actually use these in the form of homeodynamic products that are somewhat similar to homeopathics, and one can use the vibrational frequency of those mushrooms and take them in a super duper small amount to keep the immune system tapped up just enough. Last but not least, I'll mention crystals. Crystals also have substantial benefits for our immune system. Anyone want to mention a crystal or two that would be beneficial? Amethyst, very, very good. So we'll leave it at that. Yep. So and again we can use vibrational frequencies of these crystals as well. For example, in the form of tinctures, taking just a little bit and allow our bodies to resonate with the healing properties and immune system boosting properties of those crystals. They're very, very powerful and very useful. I use them in the clinic all day, every day. So with that, thank you very much.
All right, I get to do my favorite lecture because I'm a chiropractor. So we're going to talk about your spine and immunity. Stay back here. There are three parts to your nervous system. Your central nervous system, your brain, and your spinal cord. That is the start of every function in the body. And what did I say a definition of health was? 100% function. So we affect immunity every time we work on the spine. So central nervous system, brain, and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system, periphery out to the edges, is the connection of the nerves that leave your spine and go to every place else. It's kind of like the main connected part. We have sensory nerves that give us sensation, pain, numbness, and tingling. Then we have motor nerves that allow us to move. And then the third part of the nervous system is the autonomic nervous system. What kind of things would the autonomic nervous system regulate? Those things we don't know are happening. Bum, 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 right? Do you think every time you blink your eye? No. Do you think every time some food is digested in your gut and leaves and goes into your colon? No. Digestion. All those things are autonomic nervous, part of our autonomic nervous system. Now, if we divide the autonomic nervous system into two parts, Dr. Byron talked about one part, our fight or flight. That is our sympathetic nervous system. The body is all about balance. So we have a sympathetic nervous system, which is the bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, ricochet, rabbit. You know, we're always looking, what's coming down the pike? What's next? What's next? That is balanced by the parasympathetic nervous system. That is the part of our nervous system that says, stop and smell the roses. Let's work on digestion. Let's work on immunity. So there are areas of the spine that control that. Your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, comes from your thoracic and your lumbar areas. So if we take a person who has a sedentary job, like a desk job, and we think of the posture of that person, typically that person is going to have some forward head carriage, So if I show you rounded shoulders, what do we do on a computer? What does that say? Our head goes way forward like that. So that is going to affect this part of your spine. So sometimes when you've got that part, mostly those people will have pain in between their shoulders or pain in their lower back. Because that is part of our sympathetic nervous system, that can keep us in a fight or flight state. So when we do an adjustment on that person and we balance that part, we create movement in that part, we balance that nervous system. And we allow the parasympathetic to start working. Your parasympathetic is your cranium and your sacrum down here, opposite ends. Here's an example. We had a patient come in our office that had low back pain because she was moving. She was very stressed because she was moving. She has a husband who thought, and they're in their 60s, his goal was to have the movers come and have them nothing left to move. He wanted to move everything himself. It was driving her crazy. Dr. Tara saw her for some low back pain. She came in for her second visit and said, oh, I can feel it. I'm getting sick. And Dr. Tara said, let me check your neck. So when she checked her neck, way up here where the skull meets the spine, she had her atlas out of place. So Dr. Tara adjusted it and told her, that is going to boost your immune system. That is going to be good for you. I happened to see her for her third visit, and this is a longtime patient of mine, so shame on me that I hadn't given her this lecture, but she came in and said, I didn't get that cold. The day I was in here, I felt it coming on. I knew I was going to get it. Your daughter worked on me, and I didn't get sick. That's because we balance the nervous system. When we look at kids and we work on lots of kids, what does a toddler do when they're just learning to walk? How many times do they go boom? Right on their bum, right? They fall right on their bum. That is the sacrum. So that is parasympathetic nervous system. When that is injured, and by the way, the sacrum, this bone down here, is the last bone in the human body to totally ossify. You're about 25 years old when this becomes all bone, no cartilage. So in a toddler, when they fall right on their bum, what happens to that sacrum that's all cartilage? It can buckle like that. Very easy to fix because it's cartilage. They come in and we can work on it and fix it. But if that goes unfixed and we don't see that child until they're 5 or 6, the symptoms they're going to come in with are chronic constipation. Parasympathetic nervous system isn't able to work effectively to cause digestion and elimination to happen. So the nerves that leave this part also go to the bowel and bladder. So those are kids later in life that might be bedwetters. So we can work on that. So the point here is everything starts from here. If this is functioning, all of your organ systems are going to be functioning better. I gave you a little handout that shows where every nerve goes to and what it feeds. So when you look down there, down a little bit, you can see the cranial nerves, and you'll see the ears, the eustachian tubes. That's what we're affecting when we adjust the upper cervical spine. The same nerve innervates the eustachian tube as your upper cervical spine. So when that gets fixed, you start to get a sore throat, you start to not drain things from your sinuses. That means bacteria is able to get up in there and cause an ear infection. So you can look down here and see, when we see people that have asthma or that have COPD, if you know anyone that is older that has those chronic diseases, look at their posture, because they generally have a very rounded thoracic spine. Adrenal glands are affected at your 9th thoracic level, so that's not quite at the lower ribs, a little bit above them. That is affected by that rounded spine. And we know adrenal glands are very important in immunity, so that's also something that we can affect. I'm going to let you guys do a little exercise so you can see if your posture is good and if you have any issues in your cervical spine. So I'm going to have you face the person next to you, and if we need an extra person, we can fill in here maybe. Yeah, and you got to sit face on for this, so you have to spread out a little bit. And I'm going to have you close your eyes. Look straight ahead and close your eyes. One of you close your eyes, sorry. One keep your eyes open and one closed so you can watch. So pick who's going to do that. The person with your eyes closed, turn your head as far as you can to the right. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping your eyes closed, turn your head to the left as far as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to keep your eyes closed and bring your head to where you think center is. And whoever's watching, tell them if they're center or if they're off to one side. Then you can open your eyes. If you're centered, your posture's pretty good. If you're off to one side, you've got an issue in your neck that could cause you sickness later on. So we're going to switch around now. The person that was watching, now close your eyes. Turn your head to the right as far as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn your head to the left as far as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back to where you think center is and have your partner tell you if you're centered. You can also do this at home with lateral bending your neck and then coming back and seeing where center is that way. But that's a beautiful test to do to see what your posture is and how that's going to affect things. So chiropractic can be a great way to boost your immune system and to maintain good health.